Selling your car to Carvana is as easy as...
As easy as pie?
Sure. All you have to do is enter your license plate or VIN.
As easy as a stroll in the park.
Okay, then just answer a few questions and you'll get a real offer in seconds.
As easy as singing.
Why not? Schedule a pickup or drop off and Carvana will pay you that amount right on the spot.
As easy as playing guitar.
Actually, I find that kind of difficult. But selling your car to Carvana is as easy as...
Can be.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get an instant offer today.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough that I got to join Tincher pitching. Denny was the guy who really helped me develop as a pitcher and helped me make my dreams come true. And he asked me to come on.
Hey, Elise, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm glad you're here. I want to learn more about you. I know the people want to learn more about you and Tincher Pitching Development Systems. So what got you into the game? How did you start?
Well, my dad kind of got me into the game. So when he said that, like when I was like 3 years old, sitting in a bouncy seat, he just picked up a random bat and ball, like a plastic one. And he would toss me the ball. And even at that age, I was able to like touch the bat and the bat on the ball. So he was like, well, hey, maybe this kid could play t-ball. So then I remember he came home from work one day and he had a red wooden bat and a ball, and the rest was kind of history with that. But actually at my first t-ball practice that he took me to, I guess I thought it was just going to be the two of us, and I sat in the car and cried the whole time and wouldn't get out. So that's kind of where I started and what brought me to the game. And then from there, it just evolved. I started playing in a very, very small town. And from there, I played travel ball and kind of worked my way up. Actually, the first time I was going to play travel ball, my dad told me I couldn't try out for the team. And because travel ball really wasn't a thing. And their field was right next to ours. So I just decided, I was like, I guess I was just like, well, I can go try out. So I started to walk off the field, and my dad was like, where are you going? I was like, I'm going to try out for that team. You don't have to pay for me to play, but I mean, it doesn't cost anything to try out. And I think I was like 9 at that point. So I packed up my bag and I walked over there and tried out, and I made the team. And that's kind of how my travel ball journey started. And from there, it just kept growing. And my mom was a teacher, still is a teacher. And she kind of gave up her summers to drive me all up and down the East Coast to get recruited. So that's how it all kind of started.
Well, when you first got going, was it something that you immediately fell in love with once you got used to being out there and playing it and you started to get the hang of it? Was it something that you wanted to always do while you were doing it, and you just always had a ball and glove in your hand once you got to a certain point?
Oh yeah, I never wanted to quit. I really like to play. I even would, my dad was a little strict about practicing, but like I would even miss like friends' birthday parties because I was like, oh no, I have to practice. And I kind of knew I wanted to play in college. I remember watching Monica Abbott pitch for Tennessee in the World Series, and I was like 8 years old at that point. And I turned around and looked at my dad and I was like, I want to pitch in college. And so he helped me kind of turn that dream into a reality. So if it wasn't for my dad, I definitely wouldn't have had the opportunities and my mom, because she drove me, but my dad really helped me kind of propel that dream into a reality.
So once you realized, hey, this thing could take me somewhere, you started putting in even more work. You started looking into it. You started getting real serious, and it kind of took over everything that was about Elise. It was Elise and softball. Is that what it takes to get to playing college ball?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say that you can, be in a friend group and do all the fun things in high school that everybody else is doing, but you really can't. I mean, I think it's good to have a good life balance of a bunch of different occupations, but really, if you're going to, not everybody can be a Division I athlete, and you have to give up certain things to be able to do that. And I can say that it was well worth it. You may not get to go to on every vacation or to everybody's birthday party or even every high school dance, but in the end, to me, I think it pays off dividends. Like your school gets paid for, and you get to have experiences that you wouldn't have had otherwise. Like my freshman year in college, I was able to go play in Japan for 10 days and experience a whole different culture and culture within just living, but also within softball itself is completely different there. And if I hadn't given up those things in high school, I wouldn't have ever had that opportunity. So,
right.
Yeah.
I've talked to a few girls that have played in college, whether it be D1, D2, D3, and there's a level to that as far as the commitment that you have to make. So if you're going for, like, say, an in-depth major, it's very taxing as far as the schoolwork, the study hours, that kind of stuff, and then you have ball on top of that. So can you tell me the balance that you had and what you may have struggled with in that process?
Yeah, so that's actually a really good question. So I was lucky enough that on the D1 level, I was able to pursue a science degree. My undergrad major was the biological side of public health. So the difference in that, being a science major, especially in season, versus my teammates that weren't, you'd have one day off a week. And most of them, they would get to sleep in or at least go to bed early to prepare for the rest of our week. And I might have 2 labs in one day. So my day that's technically a day off from softball isn't really a true day off, because on Sunday night, coming back home from games or even after games, staying up on the bus, having to study for the labs the next day. So it's a commitment, but I think that if you can keep above a 3.0 and have a science major, the opportunities for you as a Division I athlete after school are endless. So many different grad schools or even companies are looking for Division I athletes. And if you can prove that you can manage of quite a few different things, I think the options are limitless for you after school.
So what could the aspiring college softball player do now to start preparing herself for that? What can she add into her workload now to help kind of prepare her for that?
I would say, I think a lot of times athletes in high school are like, oh, I don't need to push myself, especially if you're already committed. I don't need to take the harder classes because I'm already going to go and play somewhere. I know I'm in a school, let's say. And I mean, I've been there. I feel like I kind of slacked off in high school, but I tried to take harder classes in high school, even though I knew some of those credits wouldn't roll over to my university. And I think it teaches you how to study, how to manage your time. Another thing you could do in high school that I definitely didn't take advantage of, if you already know that you want to be a physical therapist, an occupational therapist, or even go to medical school, you could start shadowing in high school. So that kind of gives you some time where you don't have to do that in college, because I was scrounging to find hours where I could go shadow while I was trying to manage lifts and practice and studying. Because it really comes down to, especially on the D1 level, am I going to sleep or am I going to study and pass my test tomorrow? Because you can be pretty exhausted.
I can only imagine. I hear that, do I sleep? Do I study? I'm so tired from this workout. I got to get this done. And then you got exams, you got finals, you got a lot going on. So it's a balancing act. And a lot of times this is the first time these players are away from home, away from what they've known. So tell us the challenges of, being away, not necessarily, going all the way across country, but the challenges of being away from home for the first time, and you're not coming in the door and, talking to mom and dad or grandparents or whatever.
It can be hard because especially like your fall season as a freshman, I was like 2 hours from home. Fall season, I got to come home a little bit, but you still have commitments on the weekends, like volunteering and within your community and different aspects within just the athletic department that you may have to be a part of. But then once January hits, you don't get to come home anymore. So it can be really hard, but I think that you have to kind of put effort into building good relationships with your teammates, and your teammates kind of become your family. I have one teammate that I still talk to every day, and she's going to be in my wedding. And when things got tough at school, she and I would kind of go get dinner and talk them out. I mean, so they kind of become your family, and you always have, if your family's supportive, like you can call them, you can FaceTime them, beauty of iPhones now, because we couldn't have done that before. But yeah, it's tough, but I think you build new relationships and you understand that you've been working for this. So you either kind of have to suck it up and move on, or you kind of get left behind.
Right. I would agree. It's either it's put up or shut up time. I mean, it's a part of the challenges. Everybody's going through it on some level. And it's just, it builds personality too. It helps with growth. So you had a good career, college. You played at a high level. You met a lot of people, influenced by a lot of different people. And now the college career is over, and it's like, okay, so what is Elise doing? What did she turn it into?
Yeah, so I was lucky enough that I got to join Tincher pitching. Denny was the guy who really helped me develop as a pitcher and helped me make my dreams come true. And he asked me to come on as an instructor, and I was like, of course I would love to. So it was kind of, when I graduated college, my whole life kind of shifted. I had a week, I graduated college, I started grad school. I'm working towards getting my doctorate in occupational therapy. And then on top of that, I started being an instructor. So there was a lot of change, but being an athlete kind of prepared me for that. So I was going to class, and then I would schedule hours out at night where I was just giving lessons. And it's been a really good outlet, because I was wondering what I was going to do with not having softball in my life, because I kind of feel like when you're doing it all day, it kind of becomes a stress relief, and I no longer could go hit off the tee if I was mad or work on my form. So it was nice, though, to kind of take that energy and put it into helping other young girls who want to play the game. And most of my young girls want to play on a high level, and that's exciting to see, and kind of help them. And I think being a female too, and kind of understanding the mental side of what it's like when you're in middle school and you're already not feeling great about who you are as a person, and you're also trying to figure out where you're going to go with softball. That's just kind of what I'm doing. I'm going to school, and then I'm trying to help young girls better their lives too at the same time.
So you're using Tincher as a vessel to do this. Explain what Tincher is, how it started, where it started. Kind of give us some detail on that.
Yeah, so Denny's oldest daughter, Angela, if you look her up, Angela Tincher, she played for Virginia Tech, and then went on and played professionally in Japan. She started pitching, and they lived in a small rural area, and she just didn't have the help she needed to get to where she wanted to be. So Denny was like, you know what, I'm going to research this on my own. And he started to look into how the woman's body moves naturally, because fast pitch used to be a male sport. And a lot of those things are still bleeding over into our form today, like people slapping their glove, hello elbow, like makes sense to pull up like that if you have a bunch of upper body strength, but it wasn't working for his daughter. So he dove in, researched. She ended up being one of the best pitchers we've seen, in the game. And he continues to do that. Tincher pitching isn't something where he's like, okay, this worked for my daughter, so I'm not going to try to progress it anymore. We are full of certified Tincher instructors, and each person brings their own unique thing to the table. We have people who are sports psychologists, strength trainers. We even have one person who is an aerospace engineer and gave up his job to teach pitching, and his girls are phenomenal. One of them is committed to the University of Florida and played on one of the Junior USA teams this year. Her name's Keegan Rothrock, and she's going to be someone to watch. I mean, the cool thing about Tincher is we're constantly researching, and Denny's not okay with things staying the same. I just think if you look at pitching, it's constantly evolving. Like if you look 5 years ago at the College World Series, no one was really throwing 70 miles per hour. You were seeing more like 64 with good movement. And now you're seeing people that are throwing in the 70s, and yeah, they still have great movement. So everybody's evolving. So we try to evolve as a company and give our girls the best shot there is to be competitive.
So the way the system is designed, it's designed to evolve with the game. So what do you look for as an instructor and a girl is coming in for the very first time, or a parent kind of reaching out to you? What is some of the things that you look for as you get started with a new lady?
Well, I think that's hard because everyone's different. And that's one thing that we really realize in Tincher pitching, like no athlete is going to be the same, and you can't teach each athlete the same. Everyone has different movement patterns. So in the same breath, everybody's family dynamic is different. But really the kids that do the best are the ones that come in there and they're able to speak for themselves, and their dad's not trying to talk over them. I can't tell you how many times I've looked at a kid who's like 11 or 12 and I'm like, hey, what do you want to do at your lesson today? Like, what do you need to work on? And their dad they'll immediately look at their dad for him to speak. And at that point, I kind of would like to see, like, if you're 12, 13, with the way the softball world works, like, you need to be taking your development into your hands to a certain extent. I mean, I know we're still really young and not looking at dad. And my girls that come in that have done their work, they're like, hey, I want to work on rise ball today. I think my back leg isn't doing what it should be. And then we can do whatever else. Like, I like to see the kids kind of take some ownership of their lesson and come in and say, this is what I'm thinking, what I want to work on. Like, what do you think? So, yeah.
So it's not just lessons with the instructor. I mean, it's take home stuff that they need to work on and continue to progress. Go into that just a little bit and explain that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, Tincher pitching isn't really designed for you to come weekly. I tell my parents all the time, granted there's time and place. If you've been injured and you need to go see a pitching instructor every week, that's completely different. But if you're on like a normal path, you're developing like you should, no injury, I tell my parents, like, if you're going to a pitching instructor and they tell you they need to see you every week, they're taking your money. Like, because if your daughter doesn't have enough time to work on what I'm asking her to work on, and she comes back to the next lesson and we're saying the same thing because she's only had maybe 6 days to work on something, neither one of us is getting anywhere. Right. So with Tincher pitching, we really like for you to come to the lesson. We'll give you like different movement patterns to work on, different drills to help outside of pitching to kind of help you get that movement down and then try to turn it into a pitch. So I tell my girls, like, I only want to see you once every like 2-3 weeks. If you're doing your job at home, then we will be on a great path to success that way.
And I think that makes it more affordable for the parents, for the families, because lessons they get expensive because they want to keep going. It's like, okay, I got lessons on Tuesday and Thursday. Well, how much work are you putting in between? And I'm glad you mentioned that, and that's the way the Tincher system is, that, you got to put the work in outside, and then we meet back up. Maybe it's a week and a half, 2 weeks before the next one, because it makes them commit. And, so these girls that have gone through and been with you for a couple of years, what do you see most as far as development when it begins to click with them? How does things change from that point?
So I have one kid that I'm thinking of in particular, and she came to me, her front side like was totally close. She was just throwing all shoulders, and we finally got going, and I was like, you know what? If you work hard, you can go play wherever you want. Give me a season. Just give me the fall season. Don't worry about how you perform in a game. Let's just focus on our mechanics. And if you can do that, we'll be good to go. And she really bought in. And I started to get like a video, because I'll tell my girls, I'm like, look, if you're at home and something's not going right, video yourself, shoot me a text. I will do my best to respond within like the next hour. And she started doing that. And she would send me videos. I would send feedback. Her parents would video her lessons for her, because she would sit down afterwards and transcribe the lessons and was diligent. And if she didn't understand a certain like clip, she would send me her notes and be like, this is what I took from this clip. What do you think? And I'm not saying that everyone's like that. Not everyone learns differently, but she was kind of an auditory learner as long as with a kinesthetic learner. And that worked for her. And that kid has like progressed tremendously in the past 6 months. She looks completely different. So that's what I like to see. And I know everybody's different with how they learn. But yeah, that's what buy-in looks like to me.
Right. I see, and I talked to a few athletes. What's the notebook? If you hear an athlete, a Tincher athlete talk about it, they talk about their notebook. What is their notebook?
Yeah. So we require that all athletes bring a notebook to their lesson, and the notebook is literally, is just kind of like our key to success. It has every lesson that you've ever been to in there. So if, say, a month ago we talked about curveball and now you're at a tournament and you're like, crap, I can't throw it for anything, you can go back in there, you can say, oh, Elise said that I need to cut myself off more with this and connect my elbow to throw it. The notebook stays with almost all of my girls. I have the girl I was just speaking about, one of my other, they both play on a team, one of my other pitchers and her, and they actually compare notes in their notebook to see like, oh, what did she tell you? Like, let's see. And they'll do that in between games. But it really has everything from all the lessons. Cause I tell my girls, I'm like, your parents are paying for you to come to these lessons. There's no point in you being here an hour. And if I say something that really clicks, you need to go write it down. There's no point in you being there and not writing it down. Because then what happens is they'll get home and they don't remember what went on in the lesson. So sorry, that was kind of a long story to get to the point. The point is that if you don't have a notebook, you won't know what to do when you get home. And even Carly Hoover, for us that's playing professionally in Japan now, she keeps her notebook from Denny's lessons and takes it over to Tokyo. And if you look at the videos that Denny's done with her, she talks about how it's like really saved her a bunch of times. So, I mean, that's what you need.
That brings up another point. There seems to be, I don't know how to say it, a disconnect almost, if you will, between coaches for the team and the pitching instructor. Coaches want a certain thing out there. They go out there and they want results right now. You're a pitcher. If you don't get them, you're not going to be pitching for me. So there's a disconnect between the instructor that may be working on something, and the process takes 9, 10, 11 weeks or months to get to a certain thing. So how do you help a pitcher deal with the pressures of their team, their coach, or multiple coaches to continue the process and believe in the notebook and believe their instructor?
That's a hard one. I just tell my girls a lot of the times, like, you know, your coach is going to put the person out there that's getting the outs. And right now, like, you may not be getting the outs, but that's not our focus. Our focus is on being able to get the outs when we're 16, 17, 18, when it matters. And so I kind of talk to them from that standpoint, like how we perform when we're 12, 13 isn't like the end all be all. There's no need to freak out about it. So I'll tell them to set goals for themselves. So we'll set a goal of I'm going to consistently throw my curveball to the outside corner. So say they still lose the game, some of my girls will come back and they'll be like, hey, I lost this game, but I hit my goal. So we're still seeing progress, even if it's not the absolute end result we want. And I think that's a good thing to do. Like, we can get really caught up as pitchers in the whole big scheme of who's pitching the most innings. Am I like winning the games I'm throwing, when it's better if we just break it down and go step by step, because the real big picture is getting to college for most of my girls, not how I'm doing in 12U. So I just try to emphasize that.
So how do coaches and, potential instructors get involved with Tincher and become instructors, become certified instructors, and kind of tell us the process of how that works and the continued education that is involved?
Yeah. So if someone's interested in becoming a Tincher instructor, now the vetting process is pretty difficult. Denny really looks for someone who has been at all levels, has gone through travel ball, has played college ball in some capacity, whether it's a coach or a female that's played. And then from there, they have to pass some tests and study and have FaceTime interviews with Denny to be sure they understand the material we're doing. And then after that, there's an in-person portion where they'll come and they'll teach with him. And he can just kind of see how much they've kind of retained and how they interact with girls. Cause that's another big thing. Like, Denny really takes pride in you being able to interact with the kid and making each person feel special. No matter if they have ADHD, autism. I mean, he's worked with a lot of girls that had ADHD or autism and has been able to work magic and connect with them on a different level. So he really looks for overall good humans who have a lot of experience on every level.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll link a couple of different things down in the description, so they can either get up with you, they can get up with Denny, they can go to the website.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things out there that someone interested in it can kind of get to. So
yeah, and if they want to email him, really the best way to get a hold of him is emailing him at tincherpitching@aol.com.
Okay.
And either he or his lovely wife will respond to you.
All right. I'll make sure I link that down in the description so they can click on it from right there and send it off if they didn't write it down too quick. Well, I thank you for the knowledge that you gave me in Tincher. I understand a little bit more about it. I think it only helps pitchers, it only helps coaches develop even more with this system, with this style, because it makes the athlete use their body, what their body is intended for. It's not trying to reinvent something or do something that the body's not supposed to do. So if you can compare before you were a Tincher pitcher to having success, what is the major difference? What is the biggest difference that an athlete can expect when that happens?
Well, the first thing is that if you're doing the movement for pitching the correct way, it should feel effortless. And before Tincher pitching, I was in the 8th grade. I started in the 8th grade with Denny. Before that, I was doing your typical like hello elbow thing, and I had reached like 60 and only had a changeup and couldn't throw any moving pitches. And with Tincher pitching, within a year after that, by 9th grade, I had my first D1 offer. And just the way he teaches you for your body to move, I will tell you, my young girls who have never had any other lesson, their body naturally wants to move that way. It's smooth. You don't have pain in your shoulder. You're throwing with your back muscles and your legs, not your front side and your shoulder. It's just a completely different ball game, and you should be pain-free. We have a lot of girls that come to us whose doctors have told them, like, you'll never throw again.
Right.
And she probably wouldn't, throwing the way that she was prior. But Denny has people flying to work with him that have back issues, shoulder issues, that think they'll never throw again. And then they end up being able to compete in high school, and some of them even continue on and go to college. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. I want to give the girls as much knowledge in a short amount of time about it that may be thinking about getting into pitching and say, hey, this is what we need right here. This is exactly what we need to do. So I thank you for that knowledge. That's great. So as we close here, I want to ask you a couple quick fire questions, kind of get into your personality a little bit, let the audience, know a little bit more about you. So right now, what's on your playlist? What's on your iPod, your phone? What are you listening to right now?
oh gosh. Okay. Well, I am a big 90s country fan. So that's what I'm listening to. 90s country, and then like 2000s hip hop.
Okay.
I'm kind of old school, but yeah.
I can get down with that.
Yeah.
What are you binge watching right now? What's got you?
To be honest, it's a sad story. I'm currently living with my parents, and we do not have good enough internet to binge watch anything. So, but I will say my favorite Netflix show ever was Outlander. Yeah.
Okay. So what are you drinking? Coffee, energy drinks, or just water?
No, I spend way too much money on coffee. I like expensive coffee. I like good coffee. So that's my go-to. That's where all my money goes.
So do you make your fiance order it, or do you order it
No.
when you reach across it and talk through the window?
Yeah, no, I order. And he'll even ask me, he's like, wait, what do I like here? So
That's
no,
good.
he does not order.
Good. So what's your go-to snack? Either pre-workout, post-workout? What's something that you always have on the go?
On the go. I normally have a banana. Nothing too crazy. I like bananas. I like One Bars. Favorite
I do
protein
too.
bars. Yeah. I'm not big on like protein. I hate things that taste like protein, but One Bars are where it's at.
Okay. So when we talk softball, what's the first thing that pops in your mind?
Softball. I think honestly, when I think softball, I think about my dad. Because he took a lot of time to work with me, like every night, even if he got home late, he would sit on a bucket and catch me. So that's what I think about when I think softball.
And so the next one would be family. Family, I'm guessing, is the same.
Yeah, no, I mean, in terms of my family, I've got great family, great support system. They've been there for me with softball and just cheering me on all the way through, and with pursuing my graduate degree. I mean, my parents are very much like, they want you to succeed and you only give your best. So that's something they've taught me, and I'm very thankful for it.
Good deal. Are you a beach or a mountain girl?
I like both, but I just spent 2 years in the mountains, so I really love going on a hike in the mountains and just hanging out. I think I would have to say mountains probably.
Good deal. Well, I thank you for joining me today. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. I know we've talked a little bit in the past, and briefly, and kind of getting to know each other. It's been great getting to know you and Tincher. So tell us what you have going on in the future, what I can look forward to keeping up with, and talking to you again in the future, and kind of touching base and seeing if where we're at.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to continue to build my business within Tincher pitching. I currently give lessons in Winchester and Emporia, Virginia, and I recently picked up Rock Hill. I'm gonna plan on being back down there in March, and hopefully every month after that. Grad school has kind of stopped it the past couple of months for the traveling, but I'm about to get married. I get married in October.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. So and I graduate in May. So I'm going to graduate in May, hopefully get a job, get married, and keep on giving lessons with Tincher pitching. So that's the goal. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate you coming on short notice, hammering this out, giving the knowledge to the girls. You're full of positivity. There's just a lot of stuff that you go over. I can I can feel the passion that you have in the game from where it started at a young age to where you're at now, staying in the game. We need more ambassadors like yourself. I hope to get you back on again in the future, maybe sometime in the summer or even before that. Kind of let me know what you got going on, what's going on with Tincher. And I'd like to have you back. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was great.
Absolutely. All right, so that'll do it for this episode. Had a really great conversation with Elise. It was a lot of fun. We covered a lot of different things about her and about Tincher pitching. All the information will be below down in the description. The email address, the website, anything you need to know about getting in contact with Tincher, it'll all be down there. I really like this conversation because it brings some positivity to the pitching. It really helps out a lot of young girls that may not know where to go, may not know where to start. So awesome stuff. Elise, I want to thank you again for stopping by. It was great. And for everybody here at BDSF, I really want to thank you guys for watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and we'll get more episodes just like this out to you in the future. When you share this video, make sure you share it with a friend. And when you do, you tell them you love them.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
When you download the Kroger app, you have easy access to savings every day. Get the most out of weekly sales and receive personalized coupons to save on your favorite items, all while earning 1 fuel point for every $1 spent. Kroger makes it easy to save while you shop, whether it's in-store or online, so you get the most value out of every trip, every time. Download the Kroger app now to save big on your next purchase. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Must have a digital account to redeem offers. Restrictions may apply. See site for details.